And Yahweh said to me, verse 6, he said to me, in the days of Yeshayahu, the sovereign, he says, have you seen what backsliding Israel has done? She's gone up on every mountain and under every green tree, and they have committed whoring. And after she had done all these, I said, return to me, but she did not return. Okay, so let's stop there. You see, he's telling us right there that he did tell them, I'm not holding a grudge forever. Return to me. And what does it say? They did not return. Look for this in your own lives. Okay, is he trying to cry out to you saying, return to me, and are you still not listening? He said, but they would not. He said, but she did not return, and her treacherous sister Yehuda saw it. So now remember, at this point, we're talking about two separate kingdoms. You have the northern kingdom called Yisrael, and the southern called Yehuda. Now at this point, the northern kingdom is already bye-bye, and Yehuda is supposed to be seeing and witnessing. So they know we don't need to be doing that. He says, look, he said, have you seen what backsliding Israel has done? He says, and after that, he says, after she has done all these, he said, return to me. He said, and after her treacherous sin, Yehuda saw it. He said, and I saw that all the causes which backsliding Israel had committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a certificate of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Yehuda did not fear, but went and committed whoring too. In other words, we see the witnesses of what's happening to other people. You see the witnesses in this book. That's one of the reasons it's here. What does Paul tell us? Shaul says these things were written down for your examples, and samples to you, to give you information to see how it plays out. So we get to see what happens when you obey and when you don't obey, when you have fear and doubt and when you have trust and belief. You get to see it play out. It's not just him telling you in Deuteronomy, if you obey, you get all this wonderful stuff, and if you disobey, this is going to happen. Well, guess what? They obeyed at times, and there was wonderful stuff, and they disobeyed, and the curses came. We get to see that Abba means what he says. And here he's saying again, and in spite of all that, you in the southern kingdom, you in Judah, you saw what happened to Israel, and look at you. You still didn't make any effect on you at all. Probably short term, for a few moments, but ultimately at this point he's saying, he says, Yehuda did not fear, but went and committed whoring too. After watching all of this, and it came to be through her frivolous whoring that she defiled the land and committed adultery with stones and wood. Verse 10, and yet for all this, her treacherous sister Judah has not turned to me with all her heart, but falsely, declares Yahweh. Now let me stop right there. This is one of the greatest challenges, period, in that we could just talk probably the whole day if we wanted on this one verse. Think about it. He said, not just that they didn't turn to me with all their heart, they returned to me with a false heart, but falsely. In other words, they turned to me and decided how they would turn to me. They turned to me and they spun it to claim they're turning to me when they're really not turning to me. Do you not see this still today? People deciding, oh, I believe in Yahweh, but then look at what they're doing. And you wonder, is that what you think Yahweh is expecting of you? Is that what he has said that he wants? See, there's verses we know in the Brit Chadashah, in the renewed covenant, where it says things like, those that will give you up to be killed will think they're doing God's work. Well, just like here. Look, it even goes back to the golden calf, right? What happened? They said, this is Yahweh. They didn't say this is some other God. Man decided to point to this calf and call it Yahweh. This is what we've always done. We've had this propensity to try to remake him in our image, the way we would like him to be. So notice now what it says here. It says that, yet for all this, her treacherous sister Judah had not turned to me with all her heart, but falsely. In other words, they maybe did turn part way, but not with all the heart. Some of the heart was spinning and justifying what they really wanted to do, even though he said not to. Or to not do what he said to do. And you may want to just take that verse, write it down separately somewhere and say, I need to meditate on that and find out, am I turning to him without all my heart, but falsely? And falsely, I'm going to say, has to do with your bending, filtering, twisting to your self-sovereign advantage. Not falsely meaning you didn't know, you were confused, you were lied to. That's not what he's talking about here. He's talking about Judah should have known better. He's saying, but they chose to embrace the delusion because they deluded themselves.